Hello, Carole from the Women's Bookshop. You look as if you brought a book in a plain brown wrapper today. What's this all about?
Yes. Well, this is how the cover is, yes. Americanah, Americanah. Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now, some of your viewers will know her from originally Purple Hibiscus, which she wrote when she was just in her early 20s, which was shortlisted for the Orange Prize for women's fiction.
Which is the sort of the big British women's writing prize, isn't it?
Well, it's international, it's not just British. As long as the book is published in England, or in Britain, in that year, it qualifies. So New Zealanders have, you know, yes, various New Zealanders have been involved over the years. She won it. She won the Orange Prize with Half of a Yellow Sun, which was the incredibly wonderful novel about the Biafran War. And this, quite some years later now, is her big novel about living in America, Americanah.
And with an H on the end.
Yeah, the H on the end. And I think that Nigerians call other Nigerians who've lived in America who come home to Nigeria, they call them Americanahs, and the Americanah at the end is very deliberate. It's extraordinary, this book. It is totally brilliant. It's a big read. It's taken me a long time, more than a week to read it. You know,
and that's a lot for you.
I mean, it's 400 pages, I guess. But it's dense and very thought-provoking, highly intelligent. It's basically about racism. Ifemelu leaves, she's a student in Nigeria and has a relationship with Obinze, maybe I'm not quite sure about the pronunciation. He ends up going to London and lives in England as an illegal immigrant, as you get that whole story of what it's like to actually not have papers and not be living legally. She does get papers and ends up living in America, and they separate because they've gone their different ways. And she lives in America for a very long time, Ifemelu. And I mean, Chimamanda has done exactly that. She has that experience of living in America. But Chimamanda has gone back regularly to Nigeria, I think, but she understands the racism in America. The interesting thing for me was that there's a very clear distinction between American Africans and non-American Africans. And so Chimamanda, living in America, and her main character, Ifemelu, are non-American Africans, and there's a clear distinction in the way they're treated, and it's absolutely fascinating. She ends up writing, she gets a fellowship to Princeton, she ends up at Princeton University, but she also writes a blog and becomes very famous for her blog about racism, and she writes it anonymously, but she has huge response from all over America and all over the world, and becomes quite famous and goes on speaking tours and things as the author of this blog that is basically about racism. And I mean, the arguments in there are absolutely fascinating. On another level altogether, it's also the story of the relationship between these two very young people who finally meet again when she goes back to Nigeria as a mature woman. They finally meet again after these very different life experiences, one in America and one in England. I loved it. I mean, she writes beautifully.
I understand the New York Times has voted her one of the top women writers under 40 in the world. So,
I mean, she is absolutely stunning. I mean, she is stunning. She's a highly intelligent, clever woman, very beautiful as well. And she's just, I mean, she is stunning. She is quite stunning. There's a lot of stuff on hair in it, the braiding of the hair, and it keeps cropping up all the way through, and the attitudes to people and their hair. It's absolutely fascinating. You get completely engrossed in all these tiny detailed aspects of African hair.
It sounds like it's got buckets full of heart and humour and intelligence.
Absolutely.
And what more can we ask for?
And it's challenging but totally enjoyable.
Thank you so much, Carole.
Thank you.